5 years ago, when my fiancé's childhood sweetheart was diagnosed with a terminal illness, he abandoned our wedding without hesitation to travel the world with her, helping her fulfill her final wishes. Now Lily Lynn had miraculously recovered and he'd come back. He brought Lily home, saw me still at the Lou residence, and assumed I'd been waiting for him all this time. He graciously announced I could stay. Lily just beat a life-threatening illness. She's still emotionally fragile. I'll let you keep living here to take care of her. I fell silent for a moment, then replied softly, I'm already married. I don't need your permission to stay here. He scoffed. Quit joking. Everyone knows you're head over heels for me. Later, when he saw my marriage certificate, his face turned deathly pale. You're supposed to be my wife. Morning sunlight flooded the courtyard. I was watering the roses in the yard when a familiar yet strange voice sounded behind me. Miachu, I never thought you'd still be at the Lou house. My breath caught. I froze mid-watering, then slowly turned around. Noah Lou stood not far away, holding Lily Lynn's hand. After 5 years apart, his expression as he looked at me held not just surprise, but an indescribable arrogance. So you've been waiting for me to come back all these years. I set down the watering can and wiped the water from my hands. Noah pulled Lily closer, his eyes brimming with pride. Lily's finally cured. We traveled the world for 5 years, checking off every wish on her list. He gazed at Lily affectionately, then turned his eyes to me. She's the only one I've ever truly loved. I lifted my head, met his gaze directly, and spoke in a steady voice. Congratulations. But I'm married now. Noah froze for a second, then burst out laughing. Cut the act, Mia. Everyone knows you're obsessed with me. You've been guarding this empty house for 5 years, just waiting for me to come back, right? His tone was haughty, as if he owned the place. Lily just fought off a deadly disease. She's still weak, emotionally fragile too. I'll let you stay here, it'll be good for you to take care of her. Think of it as paying back the favor for living in my house for 5 years rent-free. This is me, Noah Lou, being extra generous. I shook my head and calmly met his stare. I don't need your permission to stay here. A flash of anger crossed his face, but he quickly replaced it with a confident smirk. Don't forget, we never even finished our wedding, let alone got married. You've been staying at the Lou house for 5 years, but let's be real, you're nothing to this family. Just an outsider. In the sunlight, his features were still handsome, but now they felt harsh and true. To me, 5 years was more than enough to see someone's true colors. 5 years ago, I'd stood in a luxury banquet hall in my wedding dress, my heart full of joy, waiting for my groom. Then Noah had suddenly marched onto the stage, grabbed the microphone and announced, I'm sorry everyone. Today's wedding is cancelled. Lily's been diagnosed with a terminal illness. I have to stay with her for her last days. All the guests' eyes had turned to me in unison. Looks of sympathy, pity, shock, and even amusement. They'd felt like countless needles piercing my heart. In that moment, my world had crumbled. My memories were cut off by Lily's delicate voice. She lowered her eyes at the right moment, her shoulders trembling slightly. Her voice was soft, but every word felt like a jab. Noah, maybe we should leave. After all, Miss Chu has lived here all these years. It's rude of us to barge in like this. She swayed slightly, leaning weakly into Noah's side. Only I saw the calculation and pride hidden behind her lowered lashes. Noah immediately wrapped his arm around her waist as if protecting a rare treasure. His face was filled with anxiety and tenderness. Lily, don't say that, your health matters most. I'll never let you be wronged again. Let's go inside, you need to rest. After comforting Lily, he turned to me. The warmth on his face vanished instantly, replaced by anger. You've lived in my house for 5 years, every meal, every piece of clothing, everything came from the Lou family. Meanwhile, Lily was suffering outside, fighting for her life. He snapped at me, Miachu, have you no conscience left? I took a deep breath, pushed down the surging emotions and tried to explain. Noah Lou, let's get one thing straight. Enough. He cut me off roughly. I let you stay to take care of Lily, to make up for the past 5 years. Since you're so ungrateful, get out of the Lou house right now. This instant. Noah Lu, you have no right to tell me to leave. I lifted my head, my voice firm. Just then Stewardly came out, drawn by the noise. Oh, young Master Noah, you're back. Then he turned to me, respectful. Madam, Master called earlier. He said he'll be home half an hour early, he's on his way now. At his words, the tension in my body finally melted away. Good. With Benjamin Lu back, there'd be no need to waste more words on this hypocritical couple. Noah acted as if he hadn't heard our conversation. He looked down at Stewardly and ordered, Stewardly, tidy up the master bedroom on the first floor. Lily's weak, climbing stairs will be too hard for her. Stewardly looked embarrassed. Young Master, that room was turned into young Master Junior's playroom. It's full of his toys and books, it won't be convenient for anyone to live there. Noah frowned, confused. Young Master Junior? When did I get a nephew? Stewardly's eyes softened with affection. Young Master Junior is 4.5 now. He's smart and clever, he loves drawing and telling stories. You'll definitely like him when you meet him. Noah's face lit up with realization. Oh, I get it. Mom and Dad must have adopted a kid to keep themselves company since I've been gone. I watched him talking to himself, sighing inwardly. 5 years later he still lived in his own little world, never caring about anyone else's feelings or life. Young Master, you've misunderstood, Stewardly hurried to explain. Young Master Junior is the eldest young Master's biological son, he's part of the Lu family's bloodline. Noah burst out laughing, his eyes filled with disbelief. My brother got married and had a kid? I thought he said he'd focus on his career until he was 40 before even thinking about relationships. This is like the sun rising in the west. I need to see which woman could tame my cold-hearted brother. Stewardly glanced at me hesitantly as if asking for permission. I nodded slightly, signaling him to speak the truth. Stewardly took a deep breath. Young Master Noah, Miss Chu is your sister-in-law. She and the eldest young master have been married for over 4 years. The smile froze on Noah's face. 5 years ago, on that pouring rain night after all the guests had left, and I stood alone in the empty banquet hall, it was Benjamin Lu who'd handed me a clean handkerchief. His voice was deep and gentle. Let me take you home. After that, Benjamin began appearing in my life frequently. He never brought up Noah, just quietly stayed by my side, helping me through that darkest period. He'd bring me warm late-night snacks when I worked overtime, carefully remember the blooming season of every flower I liked, and on my birthday, give me the design studio I'd always dreamed of owning. Love had crept in silently without me noticing. Soon we held a simple yet warm wedding, no grand ceremony, just our closest family and friends, witnessing our happiness. Noah stood stiff with shock, his Adam's apple bobbing painfully. After a long time he finally found his voice, letting out a shrill laugh. Quit lying. How could my brother marry you? He's always had his nose in the air, there's no way he'd look twice at someone as ordinary as you. Stewardly, did she bribe you? She must have taken advantage of my absence these past 5 years to get close to my brother, trying to climb the social ladder. Stewardly wiped the sweat from his forehead. Young Master, Miss Chu really is your sister-in-law. She and the eldest young master love each other deeply, and young Master Junior will start kindergarten soon. Noah acted as if he'd heard the most absurd thing in the world. He sneered, pointing a finger at me. You? My sister-in-law. He turned to Stewardly, his tone threatening. Stewardly, have you gone senile or did she brainwash you? 5 years away and she's gotten bold enough to bribe even you. I watched him, so convinced he was being tricked, and felt a twinge of amusement. Who is Benjamin Lu? CEO of Lu Corporation, a universally recognized business genius. Before he turned 30, he'd led the company to successfully enter the international market, founded his own tech brand, and collected more awards than one could count. In the entire Lu family besides my father-in-law, who dared to go against his decisions. And he'd never relied on family resources, he'd earned everyone's respect with his own abilities. Would he let me climb the social ladder by tricking him? It was ridiculous. In the early days of our marriage, I'd always thought Benjamin had married me out of sympathy and a sense of responsibility. I'd even secretly packed my luggage, planning to file for divorce once the dust settled. But that day, just as I dragged my suitcase to the door, there he stood holding a big bouquet of sunflowers. His voice held a hint of barely noticeable hurt. "Why are you leaving? I didn't marry you out of sympathy. It's because I really love you." In that moment I saw the sincerity and tenderness in his eyes, like a beam of light, dispelling all my anxiety. From then on I never doubted our marriage again. Dubo canvas type equals text markdown, identifier equals new story translation continuation, title equals new story translation continuation, genre equals. Over these 5 years I'd found true love, had my sweet Oliver, and built a career I was passionate about. My life was 100 times more fulfilling and happier than before. I shook my head trying to keep my voice calm. "No, Lou, 5 years have passed, everything's changed. You're overthinking this." Lily Lynn crossed her arms, her eyes full of disdain. "Sister, you're really good at scheming. You replaced all the other servants and even bribed the old steward. Did you plan all this so carefully just to..." Before she could finish, I splashed the water from my cup straight onto her face. "Say that again." Noah flew into a rage instantly. "Mia too. I was originally going to give you $2 million as compensation, to let you leave the Liu family gracefully. But it seems I've been too kind, you've already taken enough advantage. You've been clinging to the title of Madame Liu for 5 years, enjoying wealth and luxury. Meanwhile, Lily not only had to endure her illness, but now she's being tormented by you here. Now, I order you to kneel down and apologize to Lily right now." Steward Lee turned pale with fright and hurried forward to stop him. "Young master, you can't do this. Miss Chu is your sister-in-law, she's an elder. How can you make her kneel? If the master finds out about this..." I stood up slowly and walked forward, my face expressionless. A flash of pride crossed Lily's eyes. She couldn't hide the smile tugging at her lips. She even took a step forward, putting on a generous act, ready to accept my apology. But I walked right past her, knelt down and opened my arms to welcome Oliver, who came running down the garden path. "Mommy!" Oliver was covered in dirt, clutching a fluttering butterfly in his hand. He threw himself into my arms excitedly. "Mommy, look! I caught a butterfly." Oliver opened his palm gently. A beautiful blue butterfly fluttered inside. I stroked his little head softly. "That's amazing, you caught such a pretty butterfly. But little butterflies need to go home to their mommies too. Let's let it fly away, okay?" Oliver nodded sensibly. He watched the butterfly fly off, then looked up at me again. Noah stared at the scene in stunned silence. His expression shifted from shock to utter disbelief. He fixed his gaze on Oliver's face, his voice trembling. "Mia Chu, where did you get this child? You clearly promised me. You said you'd only have my children for the rest of your life." I bent down to pick up Oliver, feeling nothing but exhaustion and amusement. After 5 years he still lived in his own fantasy, thinking the whole world revolved around him. Lily's eyes darted around. Her voice was soft but laced with obvious sarcasm. "Noah, don't be angry. But look at this child, his eyes and eyebrows look a little like yours when you were little." "M'etu. You wouldn't have found someone to pretend to be his father, would you?" Before she could finish, Oliver frowned and clung tightly to my neck. "Mommy, this auntie is talking weirdly. Is she a bad person?" Children speak without filter, and his words hit right where it hurt. Lily's face instantly turned awkward. I held back a laugh and patted Oliver's back. "Don't talk nonsense. They're guests." Oliver squirmed out of my arms, stood firmly in front of me and put his little hands on his hips. "You can't bully my mommy. I'll protect her." Noah's face turned livid. He roared, "Shut up, you little bastard. Who allowed you to speak?" The words "little bastard" were like poison needles, stabbing deeply into my heart. I clenched my fists tightly, barely holding back the urge to slap him. I knelt down and said softly to Oliver, "Honey, go wash your hands with Grandpa Lee, okay? Daddy will be home soon." Stewardly understood. He took Oliver's hand. "Young Master Jr., let's go wash up, then we'll give Daddy a big surprise." Just then the sound of a car engine came from outside the yard. I let out a sigh of relief. My savior had finally arrived. Father Lu and Mother Lu hurried into the yard. When Mother Lu saw Noah, her eyes turned red instantly. She rushed forward and hugged her son tightly. But when Father Lu saw Lily, his face turned terrifyingly dark. "Who allowed you to bring this woman back?" Mother Lu quickly pulled her husband's sleeve and whispered, "Stop it. Do you want our son to run away from home again?" Noah pulled Lily closer, wrapping his arm around her waist. He straightened his back. "Dad, Mom, I'm going to marry Lily. No one can stop me this time." I didn't bother listening to his grand declarations. My eyes skipped over them, landing on the yard's entrance. That familiar black car drove in smoothly and stopped nearby. The door opened and that tall, steady figure stepped out. The moment I saw Benjamin Lu, my heart finally settled. Benjamin walked into the yard with steady steps. His eyes swept lightly over Noah as if he were just looking at a stranger. He walked straight to my side and took my hand gently. "Where's Oliver?" Noah finally realized he'd been ignored by Benjamin. He straightened his posture and spoke in a provocative tone. "Brother, you're just in time. I'm formally telling you I'm going to marry Lily. As for Mia Chu," he glanced at me, his tone condescending, "since she waited for me for 5 years, I'll let her stay at the Lu family as a maid or something. That's more than generous of me." He paused, then pointed in the direction Oliver had left. "But that child named Oliver has to go. The only children I, Noah Lu, will have are with Lily." Benjamin finally looked at him directly. His eyes were calm, but they carried an invisible pressure. He took a step forward, shielding me slightly behind him. His voice wasn't loud, but it reached everyone's ears clearly. "He's my son. Why would he leave?" At those words, Noah stepped back half a step, his eyes filled with disbelief. This child. Is he yours and—" "Yes. Mine and Mia's." Benjamin pulled out our marriage certificate from his pocket. "Take a good look." Inside was a photo of Benjamin and me, our wedding photo. Noah's face turned deathly pale in an instant. "But she was supposed to be my wife," he muttered to himself. "Please show some respect. Now she's my wife, Benjamin Lu's lawfully wedded wife." Benjamin's voice was cold. Just then Oliver ran over. Benjamin ignored Noah's reaction, put the marriage certificate away, then bent down to pick up Oliver. He asked softly, "What did you draw today, little artist?" "The ocean and little fish." Oliver wrapped his arms around Benjamin's neck excitedly, his voice soft and childish. "Daddy, I want to see your new design drawings." This warm father-son interaction made Noah's face turn even paler. "Impossible. This can't be possible." Father Lu and Mother Lu were about to speak. But Noah suddenly stepped forward. "Mia Chu, how could you forget our love so quickly? Was the love between us so easy to throw away?" His voice held a hint of choking and pleading. "5 years ago you swore you'd only love me." Benjamin let out a cold laugh. "Is that so? Just like you swore on our wedding day that you'd take care of her for the rest of your life, then turned around and left with another woman? What right do you have to talk about love? You don't even know what love is." Noah's face turned livid. He was about to retort, but Father Lu's voice cut in. "That's enough, Noah." Father Lu's sharp gaze fell on his younger son. "When you abandoned Mia, did you ever think about how she felt? Over these 5 years, it was Benjamin who stayed with her through her hardest times. What right do you have to come back now and blame others?" "But Dad, Nobu." Father Lu raised his voice. "Benjamin and Mia's marriage has my blessing and your mother's. You will respect that." Mother Lu stepped forward and patted Noah's shoulder gently. "Son, some things are lost once you miss them. You need to move forward." Noah stared blankly at Oliver in Benjamin's arms. That clear, "Daddy," still seemed to echo in his ears. He couldn't accept this reality. How had the Mia who once belonged only to him become his brother's wife? And have such a big child? Lily, standing beside him, thought quickly. She sensed the atmosphere had taken a sharp turn for the worse. She suddenly clutched her chest, her face turning pale. "Noah. I don't feel well." Noah's attention was instantly diverted. He hurried forward to support her. "Lily, what's wrong?" Let's go to the hospital. He picked Lily up and rushed outside. When he passed me, he paused for a moment. His eyes lingered on my face, filled with reluctance. Mia Chu, this isn't over. He lowered his voice, dropped those words, then carried Lily away from the Lu villa without looking back. 3 afternoons later, I was organizing design drafts in the study when the doorbell rang suddenly. When I opened it, it was Noah. He looked like he'd lost weight in just a few days and there were dark circles under his eyes. Mia, can we talk? I hesitated for a moment, then finally let him in and led him to the living room. His eyes scanned the room, finally stopping on the family photo hanging on the wall. His Adam's apple bobbed. In the photo, Benjamin held Oliver in his arms. I leaned against his side and we all smiled softly. Over these 5 years. His voice was dry. Not a single day went by that I didn't think about you. I picked up the warm water beside me, didn't answer his words, just watched him quietly as if watching a performance. When I left you back then, I had no choice. Lily threatened to kill herself if I didn't stay with her. I let out a cold laugh. So you abandoned me in front of all the guests on our wedding day? Noah lowered his head, his voice filled with pleading. But my feelings for you were real. Mia, give me one more chance, just one. I can give you and the child the best life, better than what my brother can give you. I stood up, walked to the window and looked at the green plants in the yard bathed in afternoon sunlight. No, Lou, my life now is perfect. I turned around and met his gaze calmly. You can't give me what I want. You couldn't 5 years ago and you still can't now. Watching his shoulders slump little by little, I continued. I love Benjamin, Lou. He gave me respect, stability and a real home. These are things you'll never understand. Dibbo canvas type equals, text markdown identifier equals, new story translation continuation to title equals, new story translation continuation to genre equals. Noah's face turned pale instantly. He was about to speak when the doorbell rang suddenly. I opened the door and there stood Lily Lin. Without waiting for my response, she pushed her way in. When she saw Noah, her expression darkened immediately. So this is where you've been hiding. I've been looking for you everywhere. Lily turned to me, her eyes filled with malice. Mia Chu, you really don't know when to quit. You're already married to Benjamin, and you still have the nerve to seduce my Noah? I looked at her calmly. Lily Lin, watch your words. This is my home, I have the right to ask you to leave. Leave. She let out a shrill laugh. Who do you think you are? Benjamin only married you out of pity. Deep down, he must be disgusted with you. Is that so? A cold voice came from the doorway. Benjamin had appeared there without warning, his face stormy. He strode inside past me and before Lily could react, a sharp slap echoed through the room. He'd struck her hard across the face. Lily stumbled backward, clutching her cheek. She stared at him in disbelief, her eyes filled with fear. Get out. Benjamin's voice was as cold as ice. Lily Lin, this is your final warning. If I ever hear you slandering me again, you'll pay for it. Humiliated and enraged, Lily grabbed Noah and rushed out the door. She shot me a venomous glare before leaving. That night, I received a text from an unknown number. You think you've won? Just wait. I'll make everyone know about your dirty past. The next morning, my phone buzzed nonstop with notifications. When I opened it, social media was in an uproar. A post titled "The Truth About the Heiress-in-Law, From Mistress to Gold Digger" was being shared wildly, filled with all kinds of slanderous claims about me. It alleged that I'd had an affair with Benjamin long ago, and that I'd only approached Noah to worm my way into the Liu family. It even implied that Oliver wasn't Benjamin's biological child. My hands trembled uncontrollably. These vicious rumors were already affecting my work. Several key clients had called to say they wanted to suspend our cooperation. Years of hard work seemed to be on the verge of collapse. When Benjamin saw this, he immediately contacted his PR team and lawyers, starting to gather evidence for a lawsuit. Don't worry, he said. I've already had people trace the source of this post. 3 days later, the tech team confirmed that the post's IP address came from the hotel where Lily usually stayed. The evidence was irrefutable. At the same time, The person Benjamin had sent to verify Lily's medical records made a shocking discovery. After cross-referencing records and reviewing her latest test results repeatedly, Lily's attending doctor stated in astonishment that her physical exam results were completely normal. She had never suffered from any terminal illness. Her so-called life-threatening disease had been an outright hoax. A 5-year-long lie. Benjamin laid all this evidence out in front of Noah. Noah immediately drove to the hotel where Lily was staying. "You've been lying to me for 5 years?" Noah burst into the room, his face livid. He grabbed Lily by the throat. "You were never sick, were you? Answer me." At first Lily tried to defend herself. But faced with the irrefutable medical reports, she finally dropped her pretense. "So what if I was?" She sneered. "Do you think you would have left that woman Mia and run off with me at your wedding if I hadn't faked being sick?" Noah shook his head in agony. "I gave up everything for you. I abandoned someone who truly loved me. And it was all just an elaborate trick." Lily curled her lip in disdain. "Quit acting like a victim, Noah Liu. You're just the second young master of the Liu family. Do you know why I came back to China? Because I was running out of money. I needed you, my personal cash machine, to keep funding me." Noah stumbled backward. The last trace of tenderness in his eyes vanished completely. He flew into a rage. "Get out. Get out of here, all of you." That night, Noah sat alone in a corner of a bar, downing glass after glass of strong liquor. His mind was flooded with memories of the past 5 years, filled with regret and absurdity. In the early hours of the morning, a drunk Noah posted on his social media, "Mia, I was wrong. Terribly wrong. I never should have let you go. Give me one more chance, come back to me." The photo attached was an old one from our college days. We were young and innocent, full of hope for the future. This post caused an immediate sensation. Many media outlets took screenshots and reported on it, and soon the topic "Second Young Master Liu publicly confesses to his sister-in-law" was trending. I was mortified when I saw the news. I immediately tried to contact Noah to ask him to delete it, but my calls went unanswered. When Benjamin saw the news, his face showed no expression, but the air around him turned frigid. In those days he seemed like a different person. He barely spoke, spent less time at home, and often returned long after I'd fallen asleep, only to leave again before I woke up. At the dinner table only Oliver and I remained. The atmosphere was awkwardly quiet. A week later, Noah's newly founded company suddenly received a notice ordering it to suspend operations for alleged commercial infringement. Even Noah, for all his obtuseness, immediately realized who was behind this. He stormed into the headquarters of Liu Corporation like an enraged lion, barging his way up to the top-floor CEO's office. "Benjamin Liu, that's going too far. What right do you have to shut down my company?" Benjamin set down the document in his hand calmly. "It's just business competition. Your company infringed on our patents. I'm only following the rules." "Bullshit." Noah slammed his fist on the desk. "You're just getting back at me for that social media post." The argument between the two brothers grew more heated. They almost came to blows. Fortunately, Father Liu arrived just in time to stop the fight. "That's enough." Father Liu roared. "Do you two even look like members of the Liu family?" He turned to Noah. "You're 30 years old, not 3. Can't you use your head? Do you have any idea how much trouble that post of yours caused me and Benjamin? Haven't we embarrassed the Liu family enough already?" Noah hung his head and fell silent. That night Benjamin came home unusually. He'd been drinking. His eyes held a vulnerability and unease I'd never seen before. "Mia," he said suddenly, his voice deep and hoarse, "I'm scared of losing you." I froze, unsure what to say. He continued, "When I saw Noah's post, I couldn't stop thinking about your past. I was afraid. Afraid you'd regret choosing me." I hugged him tightly. "Silly man. What are you talking about? The person I love has always been you, and it will always be you. The past is long gone." The next day the Liu family held an emergency meeting. In the end they decided to transfer Noah to the company's US branch. Officially it was framed as an important assignment to expand overseas markets, but in reality, It was to get him away from this mess and prevent further trouble. To everyone's surprise, Noah didn't object this time. Perhaps he'd finally realized that staying here would only bring pain to everyone. I thought life had finally calmed down. On a bright early autumn morning, I was taking Oliver to kindergarten when I spotted a familiar figure loitering suspiciously near the school gate. The person wore large sunglasses and a hat, seemingly trying to hide their identity, but their overly deliberate attempts only made them more noticeable. It was Lily Lynn. I tensed up immediately, gripping Oliver's hand tightly while quickly dialing the number of the bodyguard Benjamin had assigned to us. Lily seemed to notice my wariness. She gave me a strange smile and walked slowly toward us. "Long time no see, Mia Chu." She took off her sunglasses. Her eyes were bloodshot, her face sallow, she looked completely haggard. I shielded Oliver behind me. "Lily Lynn, please stay away from us. Otherwise I'll call the police." "Call the police?" Her smile twisted. "You stole everything that was mine and now you're threatening to have me arrested?" She suddenly reached out, trying to grab Oliver. "Come here, little one. Come with Auntie, I'll take you to a nice place." Oliver was terrified by her ferocious expression. He burst into tears, clinging tightly to my leg and hiding behind me. I stood in front of my child, shouting sharply, "Have you lost your mind? Don't you dare touch my son." Lily's eyes flashed with madness. "Noah abandoned me. Benjamin hit me. It's all because of you, Mia Chu. I want you to taste the pain of losing someone you love too." She lunged at us suddenly, trying to snatch Oliver away by force. In that split second, a figure rushed forward at lightning speed. He kicked Lily in the leg and pinned her firmly to the ground. It was the bodyguard Benjamin had stationed nearby to protect Oliver. Seeing the danger, he'd acted immediately to stop Lily's crazed attack. Oliver was still crying. I held him tightly, comforting him constantly. "It's okay, baby. Mommy's here. No one can hurt you." Security guards quickly took control of Lily. The police arrived soon after and took her away for questioning. When Benjamin heard the news, he rushed over immediately. His face was livid. He pulled Oliver and me into a tight hug. "I'm sorry. I was careless." The subsequent police investigation results were even more chilling. Lily Lynn had not only planned this abduction attempt, but also prepared a series of more malicious revenge schemes and intended to spread more rumors about me. On her phone, the police found detailed plans and photos of her reconnoitering the area, irrefutable evidence. In the end, Lily Lynn was sentenced to prison for attempted kidnapping and defamation. After the case was closed, Noah Liu came to our house on the eve of his departure for the US. He stood at the door without entering, looking at me with complex eyes. The persistence and reluctance he'd once shown were gone, replaced by deep apology and relief. "I'm sorry, Mia." His voice was low but firm. "I apologize for all my selfishness and willfulness in the past. I was an idiot, I hurt you and I hurt myself too." He turned to Benjamin, his tone sincere. "Brother, thank you for taking care of Mia all these years. And thank you for forgiving me. I wish you both eternal happiness." Before leaving, Noah knelt down and gently touched Oliver's head, a rare softness on his face. "Little guy, take good care of your mom and dad. Grow up healthy and happy." Watching his receding figure, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. The dark clouds of the past had finally dispersed completely, and life had returned to peace and tranquility at last. Time flowed like water and another year passed in the blink of an eye. Over the past year, the storms had subsided and life had returned to calm. Noah had gone to the US, Lily had received her just punishment, and the dark shadows of the past seemed to have been swept away entirely. Oliver was now in the senior class of kindergarten, bringing home all kinds of cute, childish paintings every day. Today was a special day. It was the 5th anniversary of Benjamin and me. 5 years already. I murmured as I looked at the calendar that morning. Benjamin hugged me from behind, resting his chin on the top of my head. "Yes, 5 years, Mrs. Chu." To celebrate, we decided to revisit the coastal town where we'd had our first date, this time bringing Oliver, our little tag-along. 3 hours later, we stood on that familiar beach. The sea breeze brushed gently against us, and the sun shone warmly on our little family of 3. Oliver ran excitedly on the sand, picking up seashells and chasing seagulls, his face filled with innocent joy. For dinner we went to the Ocean View restaurant we'd booked. I ordered exactly the same menu as I had 5 years ago. "Do you remember?" I said, swirling the red wine in my glass before clinking it lightly against his. "This is where we had our first date 5 years ago." Warmth glimmered in Benjamin's eyes. "Of course I remember. You were wearing a blue dress and the sea breeze messed up your hair." I was surprised by how vividly he remembered the details. "I didn't know you'd kept that in mind for so long." "I remember everything about you," he said, taking my hand. His eyes were full of devotion. Under the moonlight we walked along the beach. Oliver was playing in the hotel's kids club, leaving just the 2 of us alone. "Benjamin, thank you for your love and companionship all these years." I stopped and looked earnestly into his eyes. "You've given me a complete, happy home." He pulled me gently into his arms. "Actually, I never told you I've liked you since college." I froze in shock at this unexpected confession. "What? We didn't even know each other back then." "Do you remember the campus singing competition in our sophomore year?" he asked. "On the final night you wore a white dress and sang slowly Once Upon a Time quietly. There were so many people in the audience, so much noise. But your voice stole my heart right away. But you were already with Noah back then. I didn't want to ruin your relationship, so I never told you how I felt." I looked at him in disbelief. "So the reason you were at the banquet on our wedding day?" "Yes, I'd only planned to wish you happiness quietly. I never expected what would happen." He paused. "But I have to admit, when I saw you hurting, a small part of me was relieved. Because it gave me a chance to be close to you." The sea breeze blew, carrying a cool, damp touch. But my heart felt warm and burning. All the hurt and pain of the past seemed to be gently soothed in this moment. When we returned to the hotel, we picked Oliver up and took him back to our room. Watching his peaceful sleeping face, Benjamin and I exchanged smiles. This was our greatest happiness. The next morning at breakfast, Benjamin received a message from Oliver's teacher, saying Oliver's painting had won first prize in a city-level competition. "It looks like our little artist is going to be famous," Benjamin said proudly, patting our son's head. Oliver bowed his head shyly, but his eyes sparkled with confidence. "I want to open the biggest art gallery in the world someday." In the sunlight, Benjamin walked toward me, holding Oliver's hand. The 2 of them, one tall, one small, had their shadows stretched long on the ground. Their smiles were pure and bright, even more radiant than the sunlight outside the window. I knew this was my happiness after weathering storms and twists, the most real, most stable happiness that I now held firmly in my hands.